30-minute chart club. This is meeting number 5. If you're watching this on the replay, please take a moment, join us in real time. This is a private live stream. We do this to educate and to engage with experienced traders, new traders. It doesn't matter. All we care about are serious traders. We also want to avoid spam, and we're also looking to build our email list so we don't have to worry about demonetization and YouTube cutting us off. That way we know who you are. We can reach out to you if we're cut off by YouTube, and we can say, hey, we're over on Rumble, or we're recording from the website, whatever. We just don't want to be beholden to big tech. So if you're not on our email list, the 30-minute chart email list, link below, scroll on down, enter your email address, and we hate spam too. You will not be spammed. Members, I just got done editing the week ahead commentary. That's going to be coming out later today. I'm pretty much done. I just got to render it. If I render it right now while I'm recording, way too much power on the machine, and we will crash. And I don't want that to happen. We also put out best stock charts to watch for the new trading week. That is published on the website, thecontrariantrader.com, and also on YouTube. So go check it out. And is that it? That's it. Okay, so before we go to the charts that we are looking to analyze, the 30-minute charts, right now we're going to have 33 charts. I added the VIX, or I'm adding the VIX and the trip Qs to get a feel for where they closed and how we may want to trade. Now, I can tell you that on a weekly time frame, the VIX broke out last week. So that means volatility is rising. But on Friday, the S&P 500 rallied back and the VIX sold off. So we may get a continuation rally on the S&P 500 and maybe, just maybe on the trip Qs, which closed down on Friday. So when we're looking at the 30-minute charts, we want to know in the back of our mind, are we somewhat bullish, neutral, or bearish on the triple Qs on a daily time frame? So that way we know which direction that we want to play. That must be ingrained in our head prior to getting involved with the 30-minute charts and playing a direction. What is the daily chart looking like? Are we biased long or short? So let's spend a moment. We're going to populate these fields. We're going to go with 4 symbols that we're going to upvote today. And oh, wow, look at this stuff. My software company just added on a bunch of new stuff here. I'm just catching it. All right. Pedro, welcome. Welcome. Great to have you. Okay. We're going to use TrendSpider. Folks, if you're not using artificial intelligence and automated trend lines, detection and pattern recognition, back testing, trade setups, everything, you're missing out on the revolution that is AI. And 35% discount code to our friends over at TrendSpider. Let's get to it. So the trip Qs, we're going to go with a daily chart here. And it was a pretty ruthless back half of the week. Now, while this candlestick is green, it did not close up on the session. It simply means that we closed off the lows of the session and we closed at support. So our attitude going into Monday, as we take a look at the 30-minute charts, is that while we may not get a new daily lower low, we may get a lower morning, and then we may get a rally back with a sideways consolidation. So on Monday, we're going to be looking more towards really ugly closes on the charts we're going to be going over, meaning ugly 30-minute charts, possibly get a continuation rollover, but in all probability, they're going to trade with the Qs. Right, they're part of the Qs. So if we get a potential reaction to the upside or neutral, those stocks may just stay buoyant. They may not get a lot of follow through to the downside. So we prefer stocks that have a little bit more of a bias to the upside. Now, taking a look at a 30-minute view of the Qs, you can see that this could be a bear flag setup. Technically, we broke out on Friday on a 30-minute time frame. We broke out. So you could say that this is somewhat of a bear flag setup, but you could also say that this is a consolidation from which it closed with a breakout that is bullish for the Qs going into Monday. Let's go to the 30-minute charts. I use stockcharts.com because I could save all these charts here. So we're going to begin with Airbnb. Airbnb, we were talking about on Friday morning, and I warned, you know what, it looks like we have a nice bull flag setup here. However, in the pre-market, we were gapping down, so that negated this trade, right? We weren't going to get involved with it. Is this a trade that could be had right now to the upside? Yeah. What we're doing is that we are putting in a higher low. Now, I would annotate this, but I can't because watch what stockcharts.com does to me. I've opened up too many tabs. Let's see if they're going to do it again. Oh, they saved me. I was getting a warning here a moment ago that I opened up too many tabs. Let's see if they continue this. All right, so we have a higher low, and we recaptured support. Stokes hooking up. RSI hooking up. And we have a breakout on a 30-minute time frame. I happen to like Airbnb. We've been watching it for a while. I think this is one that we may want to upvote to a watch for Monday. And this should be a 30-minute chart. Okay. So Airbnb looking good into Monday. Adobe, again, not one of my favorite stocks here. In fact, this is, you could argue that Adobe's going to break here. I don't see a long here. If anything, I see a short on Adobe. This is a clear bear flag setup. So as a short, I like it, but I'm not gonna go with Adobe right now because the Qs look like they want to move up higher. So the risk of shorting Adobe is a little bit too high for my taste. We'll watch it to see whether or not, okay, suppose the Qs rally on Monday, then fade, then we'll be watching Adobe to see whether or not it breaks this lower band of support. And then we may short Adobe, but not right now. It's not one of my top setups for the new trading week. It's a possibility, but it depends upon if the Qs fade and go lower. Same deal here, Amazon. Amazon not looking good at all. Bear flag setup. Apple, 30-minute chart. And for those folks just joining in, or you're watching it on the replay, I should say, link below, join the 30-minute chart club. This is a private live stream. And we do send out trade alerts on any of these trades that we execute upon to members in, out. And I've already gone over price targets for our watch stocks for the new trading week. So Apple, we spoke about quite a bit on Friday morning. It remains in a downtrend channel. But what I like here about Apple is that while we tapped the upper band of support here, we faded, but we never came all the way back down to retest the lower band of support. That means you had bids, you had buyers willing to support it above that support level. To me, that's a tell. And you can see we had support back here where we bottomed out. That's a tell. Now, would I be a buyer of Apple right here, right now? Probably not. When I would be a buyer of Apple is if we close above 152 per share, because that would be a breakout above this downtrend channel. So it's interesting, but not a real screaming swing trade for me in a very short term. Now, Avago, I looked at this one earlier, and I keep saying Avago, Broadcom merged with Avago. They kept the symbol, they kept the name Broadcom, though. So I keep saying Avago because I look at that symbol, it's ingrained in my head. So forgive me for my unprofessionalism, my lack of an ability to change and adapt to the new trading environment that we find ourselves in. I plead guilt. Guilt. All right, so we have a bear flag set up here. This is, to me, is very close to being a short candidate. But again, I get the feeling that the Qs are going to move up higher with a bias to the sideways. So I don't want to go shorting and fighting that potential move up higher. Now, Boeing, I did mention on Friday morning that I liked a pullback and a retest to support. What did we do? We pulled back at a retest to support. Look at the rally off of that support level. I mean, we nailed it. Did we trade it? No. But we were busy with shorts, and it's looking interesting here. But what I want to do is amend this chart a little bit because I want to spend a little bit of time here. This is not a Q name. This is more of a Dow name, more of a Dow Jones industrial name, more of an S&P 500 play. And guess what? They closed up on Friday. S&P 500, bullish key reversal bar, Dow Jones Industrial Average, bullish key reversal bar. So why did that happen? Well, I would argue that the Q names came way too far. The NASDAQ names came way too far. And then you had a breakout on the 10-year yield weekly chart. I went over this with members on the week ahead commentary. You cannot ignore the breakout on the 10-year yield. It is critical. I know many people that are new to this business. They want to come onto YouTube. They want to see a guy tell you, buy this stock because of X, Y, and Z and where it's going, all the money you're going to make. That is not the way longer term you're going to become a professional trader. This is a business, and we must understand inverse correlations. So I know that if the 10-year yield breaks out on a weekly time frame, small caps are going to struggle. Technology, high beta names are going to struggle. Why? Because they're barely making money at zero interest rates. What happens when rates move up higher as they are at current and they need to refinance their debt? They can't. They're zombie companies. So why the mega cap names may move up higher in terms of where the 10-year yield peaked out at like 4.3%. The big triple Q names, Microsoft, Facebook, they couldn't handle it. They buckled. Why they may be able to put in a little bit more of a higher high relative to the 4.3% on the 10-year several months ago is because they're cutting costs. They're cutting heads. So their overhead is less now. Therefore, they can afford to pay out higher debt. Doesn't mean the stocks could go much higher. Randy. Hey, Randy. Thank you. Yeah, and please, I would encourage you, Randy, I really appreciate this. Whatever I say here about these stocks, please check for earnings. If I say I want to buy this stock now, I don't know whether or not earnings are next week. If earnings are to be reported and I say I want to buy this stock, I will not buy it in front of earnings. Negated. So I mentioned earlier that Airbnb was bullish. Randy just reminded me not to buy the stock because they report on Tuesday. Great information. Love it. Thank you, Randy. That's worth a lot of money. A lot of money. So let's do a hypothetical here. Let's say that we keep Airbnb on our radar screen. What can we do here as an earnings trade? Because we like the stock. What we could do is sell a deep out of the money naked put. Let's say that the market maker anticipated move is, let's figure it out. Airbnb. The market maker anticipated move is $9.10. So what I like to do is at a bare minimum, double that. Bare minimum, double that anticipated move and then sell premium outside. And that's one way to play Airbnb. Now, I'm bullish on it. I might just put on either a ratio trade, meaning sell twice as many puts for every call that I sell, because I would really like to see Airbnb beat on earnings and then break out above this upper band of resistance and hold 119 per share, this becomes a very sexy chart if that were to happen. So again, Randy, thanks for the makes for great conversation. Thank you for bringing that up. And if any of these other names are reporting earnings and I don't mention it, please don't hesitate to jump in and say, hey, Bob, earnings coming up. So back to Boeing. This is looking like it wants to break out of this 30-minute chart. Boeing is along on a close above 214 per share. I can tell you right now that the Dow Jones Industrial Average weekly time frame had broken out 3 weeks ago. The past 2 trading weeks, doji star formations, a sign of indecision. I think that the path of least resistance remains up for the Dow Jones. Therefore, I'm liking Boeing on a breakout above 214 per share. We're going to add this to our watch list. Now, one thing that the annotated trend lines are telling me right here, I did not draw this line. There is a resistance level immediately above on a weekly time frame on Boeing. So what I want to do here for an entry point, if I want to scratch the itch and buy a few shares, I want to see a breakout above that resistance level, and we'll scratch the itch. We'll buy a little bit of Boeing. Now, back to a 30-minute view. Now I'm going to overlay. Well, I can't overlay when I do the multi-chart. So the 30-minute view is looking very, very good here. Here's that resistance level. Let's call it, this is giving us 213.76. We're going to round it up to 214. We want to see a breakout above that mark. Rising lower band of support. We're putting in higher lows, and we're getting ready for a breakout here on Boeing. I like it going into the new trading week. Now, BlackRock. I don't like the banks. The banks had a bad week last week. BlackRock, for the sake of discussion, did have a breakout above a 30-minute downtrend channel here. We'll watch the banks, but on the banks weekly time frame, again, I went over this with members on the week ahead commentary, weekly bear flag setup. If it breaks to the downside, you're not going to want to own BlackRock. But right now, on an intraday basis, it's looking okay. So we're not going to upvote this. Chipotle, they reported earnings, and this is actually looking interesting here. So we've broken out of this 30-minute downtrend channel. We pulled back and we filled the gap, which opened up, I believe, on the 26th of January. That gap has been filled. Good volume into the close on Friday. Let's take a quick peek of whether or not we have any overhead supply on TrendSpider. A bit of resistance at around 1639. Let's go with the weekly view. Yeah, you can see the rejection at resistance 1669 mark. We broke down below support at 1607. So if we want to use a stop on Chipotle, that's where we're going to place it, right at 1612 per share, 30-minute chart. So here's the breakout of that downtrend channel. And we want to use a stop right down below. Let's call it, I would range it out. We may pull back and do a retest of this breakout point at 1574. That would be interesting. But if it breaks, let's call it 1570, you may want to exit the trade. But if we get a pullback and a retest of this breakout point, that would be a very, very attractive risk reward entry point. You just want to make sure that if we do pull back and do a retest here, that it holds and you don't fall back down into this downtrend channel. So this is not a strong buy for me per se. So we may replace this. Coinbase, I would avoid this horrible weekly price action. It may gap up, but I think it's a fade. Very, very bad price action last week. CrowdStrike, nothing going on here. Don't like it. Looks like it's bear flagging out. Disney, looking okay. This is not a tradable stock for me. It's more of an investment / multi-week swing trade. I'm not seeing it here. It's a nice consolidation. We're probably going to move up higher here, perhaps fill the gap at around, well, we already filled the gap. Sorry, we already filled the gap. Resistance up at around 110, 110.50. DocuSign 30-minute chart, not loving this. Weak and getting weaker. Big volume into the close. Could be shorts covering into the close. Don't like it. No trade there. Those Pizza hammered into the close on Friday. It looks as though it wants to go lower. It was down on big volume into the close. We want to avoid that to the long side. Google. Now, Google is interesting in that it got really beat up bad. I don't know where they got the name for their AI program. Was it BART or something like that? What is that all about? So I like the I think the name of their AI program is worse than the news about the AI program. I got a question wrong. They'll fix it. It's Google. They got plenty of money. So to count them out of the AI race is a bit ridiculous. Might their search business get hurt? Sure. And it broke out of a downtrend channel. I think that, and look at this. We have a bullish divergence here. Take note. This is the market sending you a signal, right? We were putting in lower lows, then began to consolidate. What was RSI doing? Going up, trading sideways. It's getting ready to break out. Google is looking good. Alphabet, whatever you want to call it, is looking good. GOGL as a good volume into the close, as a swing trade long next week. I'm going to replace CMG. A little bit of resistance. This is the AI, folks, pointing out that we have resistance above. So we want to see it close above 94. Let's call it $95 per share. Close above $95 per share would be very interesting to us as a short-term swing trade. So Google looking good. What am I doing here? Meta. We were short of Meta. I'm now becoming a little bit more warmed up to it. It's attempting to break out above the upper band of its 30-minute downtrend channel. We are seeing a bit of a bullish divergence here on the stochastics. But of course, we need to wait for a confirmation breakout. So here we go. We have a higher low on Stokes versus this prior low, despite the fact that price is lower. So that selling momentum is beginning to wane. That's all that this is telling you right now. And the RSI is in a downtrend channel still, and it's confirming the price action. But the one thing it's not confirming are the lower lows, because what we're doing here is we're putting in sideways price action. So this is the market sending you a signal that while, yeah, it's down, it's beginning to consolidate. Things are beginning to build up here. And in all probability, this is going to get resolved to the upside fairly soon on Meta. So Meta looking good. Let's take a look at this one. Do we want to add it? The daily chart is not looking good. That I must say. Let's go to the weekly chart. Are we at weekly resistance? Man, brutal week last week. But yeah, we do have resistance immediately below. $173.17. I'm going to set up an alert here. We're going to reduce the sensitivity somewhat. We don't want it too much. No, I'm going to put none on there. Okay. So that is Meta. Our alert is set. Here's our support level here where we set our alert at. I could easily see us testing this support level. So Meta looking good here. Where do we close? What was that support level again? $273. Yeah, we're right there. We're right there. Meta looking good. Microsoft, good close. Very expensive stock. Don't want it. mRNA, I think we nailed this one. We nailed it short. We nailed it long. The money's been made there. Nike, Randy, yeah, that was a horrible rollout of their AI. Goes with Tesla Cybertruck window break. Oh, it broke? Really? I thought that wasn't supposed to happen. Nike looks like a bear flag setup. I would avoid this stock. Netflix, this is one of our top picks going into the new trading week. What we're looking to happen here is a counter trend rally on Netflix. We're going to be looking to short Netflix on strength, in particular on strength. We'll be very aggressive to the short side. If we get a continuation move lower, we may nibble to the short side, but not aggressively. I'm worried about a whipsaw effect, especially if the Qs gain traction. NVIDIA, not loving it. PayPal, not loving it. The money's made here. We were talking about this downtrend channel. Looked attractive going into the trade on Friday. They reported earnings, and the money's been made. Qualcomm, not looking good here. A bear flag setup. We'll watch it. Nothing to be done here. Shopify, clear bear flag setup. It's a short. Target. This is consolidating nicely. Randy, that happened when they did the debut. Oh, okay. And that wasn't supposed to happen, right? I wonder why that even matters, right? Does it really matter? Unless they're selling it to drug lords who need bulletproof glass. I don't know. I guess they're trying to make it seem like the Terminator truck. All right, I will. I will. All right, Randy. Target consolidating, not a good close on Friday. Nothing to be had here. Salesforce, nothing to be had here. Nothing sexy. Another bear flag setup. Twilio, Good volume into the close here on Twilio. There's the breakout of the downtrend channel. I mean, if we pull back on Twilio and do a retest of 59 bucks a share and we reversed off of that $59 per share mark, I think there's more upside to be had on Twilio. I mean, it already rallied, so I'm not going to buy here because it's already beyond the buy point. But I think it's worth taking a quick peek at where our support and resistance levels are above. Yeah, you can see this is the AI, man. Pretty powerful stuff. Where's the automated trend line button? There you go. See where we bounced? If we had an alert set up here, we could have enjoyed this rally up higher. But let's take a look at a daily chart first. Do we have resistance above? Yes, we do. 61.45. Support immediately below at 59.67. We close at 61.31. I'm not loving this setup. Weak RSI. I don't like it. I screwed that up. All right, it doesn't make a difference. I'm not trading it anyway. I would avoid Twilio. It may pop, but not interested. Tesla, we're short of Tesla. It traded down another $2 in the after hours on Friday. I think there's more downside to be had here. Let's spend a moment to identify where we have support below. $188.32. $188.32 on Tesla. Yeah, you can see again the automated trend lines picking it off. It coincides exactly with my drawing of support. So we were rejected at support on Friday, now resistance, and I think we're going to come down to 188.79. I'm going to cover my short at that price point. We covered a portion. We were short of the put options. Oh, excuse me, we weren't short of the put options. We bought the put options, betting on a decline in Tesla. We were right there. We made money. We closed it. Oh, no, wait a minute. We closed out Qs. I'm sorry. We're still long of the Tesla puts, and we are short. We closed out on our Q puts. Sorry about that. I just confused myself. So we're going to close book profits here pretty soon. Walmart creeping up. A little bit of stealth rally here on Walmart. Looking good, actually. Zoom. Short covering rally. Stokes were oversold. RSI was oversold. Nice close. We'll watch it. What do I have this up here twice for? I have it up here twice. And that's it, folks. If you have any questions, please let me know. And Randy, thank you. Twilio also reports on Wednesday. Thank you for that, Randy. Sam, thank you for being here. And folks, if you're watching this on the replay, don't forget, link below. Get invited to the next round. Great having you guys here. So we're leaving off with the top trades going into the new trading week as short-term swing trades. Airbnb reporting earnings. Boeing, very interesting. Dow closed up on the week. Excuse me, closed down on the week, but a doji star formation closed up on Friday. Interesting. This is a good setup. Google beaten up. I think it's overdone. Probably going to rally. Meta beaten up, hitting support immediately below. Weekly support, 30-minute chart firming up. I think these are good names but just beware of earnings coming out on Airbnb. If you're going to trade it, be careful. Ideally, have earnings in the rearview mirror. And with that, folks, hopefully I'll see you on Sunday Night Futures Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. TrendSpider, 35% discount code. And again, for those folks not on the email list, please, 30-minute chart club, link below, get invited to the next round, session 6, sometime early next week. And I will talk to you there. Have an awesome remainder of your weekend. And don't forget to buy your wife a gift, take her out to dinner. Please, Valentine's Day. Don't forget.